Yo, what is up guys, back with another video. So last week I showed you guys my first place undefeated Fire King deck profile, and as you all know, as you can see from these cards here on, it did feature the Sinful Spoils engine. Now I do know that it's a rather expensive engine, not everybody can afford it, and you know what, the good news is that you don't really need this engine to still play and enjoy Fire Kings and to actually be competitive with Fire Kings. While this engine is, the best, probably the most optimal way to play the deck, it's not the only way to play the deck. So today we're gonna put these cards aside. We don't need them, we don't care about them, and I'm going to show you how you can still win with Fire Kings and on a budget. So everything that will be in this video are cards that should be pretty affordable, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem to build this version of the deck and to win with it. It will still be consistent, it will still be strong, and it will still do everything that it's actually meant to do, so you do not have to worry about it. Let's start with just the obvious cards. Of course, the main engine, it is the Fire King cards, 2 Garunix, 3 Kirin, and 3 Ponyx. That is the usual ratio. If you need an in-depth explanation of these cards, you can check out my previous video, or I can do a combo tutorial for these cards as well, but by now most of you know what they do, so no need to really go over it again. This is the usual, the standard ratio, and you supplement it with, of course, 3 Arvadas as well. I still run the 1 Rangbali in this version, as well as 1 Barong. Now, Rangbali is cuttable, some lists play it, some lists don't. When you put it on the field it's good, and since this is more of a budget version, really there's no reason not to play at least 1 Rangbali, and that spell trap negate still does come up quite often, so it's good to have it, it's good to play it, and you can't really go wrong with it. For the rest of the engine, 3 Sanctuary. I play 2 in my Sinful Spoils list, but here, for just a little bit more consistency, I put in 3, since this is more of a budget version anyways. You wanna max out on Sanctuaries. It's not a starter per se, but it kind of can be, depending on your hand, because you will still put your Fire King Island on the field with this card, so it can be enough if you draw it. So playing 3 of it is also quite good. 2 Island is enough. This is just the regular ratio as well as 1 Skyburn and 1 Circle of the Fire Kings. I think that you should play both of these. Skyburn is for sure one of the better cards in your engine. It's amazing, does so much for you and so much against your opponent. And then Circle is 1 more Ponyx target, and it does come up sometimes. You really need a quick way to pop something, maybe you don't have access to Island or something like that, so Circle can come up and it can just restart your whole engine again if you have other pieces in your hand or graveyard. So this is really good. And then just 2 more tankies. This is good. You go into Arvata or Rangbali. You don't really want to search Barong with it, but you can. So it's really good. It loses a bit of synergy that it has in the Sinful Spoils version, because you can send it with your Black Witch or the original Sinful Spoils spell card, but it's still pretty good. And sometimes you really need that body that tanky can provide you, and having Arvata on field oftentimes is also really good to ensure that your plays go through, so tanky really helps with that. It's much needed access. But let's focus on the star of this deck profile, and that is the Dogmatika engine. And it starts off with 3 Nadir Servants. Obviously this card is what you wanna see in your hand. If you don't have Ponyx, this is 1 card that gets you through 2 panics. Now, of course, this version does lock you out of your extra deck for the turn, but still, that's why we play some other cards in the extra deck that obviously have a lot of synergy with Nadir Servant itself. Maximus is the card that you do want to search with Nadir Servant, and then Maximus will be your gateway to get into panics. I will show you that at the end of the video. We play one Fleur-de-Lis in this version as well. Some Dogmatika lists don't play it, but this card, again, because of something that we do play in our extra deck, is easily searchable, and it just provides another layer of disruption. It's a free summon, it's a free monster negate if you still have Maximus on your field, which you probably will have it on your field if you're still, locked out of your extra deck. So Fleur-de-Lis is really free in this deck, and you can summon it without any problems. And again, if you have Maximus on your field, you'll have a monster negate as well. That's really valuable in this meta. So really, if you play this version of Fire Kings, if you opt for the Dogmatika cards, I mean, one Fleur-de-Lis is a must. Then we play one Sauravis, one ritual card in this deck. The reason why we play this card is because it helps us play around Imperm, Veiler, things like that, and that actually helps a lot. That ensures that your Panics effect goes through most of the time. Now, the only way that it can be stopped then is with an Ash Blossom or perhaps a Ghost Mourner, but no, even Ghost Mourner is negated with Sauravis, so really this card offers a whole lot of protection, and it's really good. And the reason why we play it is because it's searchable. We can actually search it in this deck. Again, I will show you how. So another card that is free and that makes sure that your plays go through. Now this is it for the Dogmatika engine. As you can see, everything here is budget. This has been reprinted in the Rarity collection. Sauravis is also pretty cheap. It has rare printing as of this year as well. Maximus has spiked up a little bit, but regardless, it's still only a few dollars, and it should be affordable still. And then, just to round off the whole deck, 3 Ash Blossoms. We still are sticking with the Veilers, as well as the Imperms. Again, since this is a hand trap kind of meta, it's good playing both Imperms and Veilers, since they're not once per turn, so you can use them multiple times if you draw multiples of them. And it just is what it is. You usually need like 2 hand traps in your hand to, be able to like fully disrupt your opponent, so this helps with it a lot. And then 3 triple tactics talents, because you play the Dogmatika engine and everything else, it's just kind of makes sense to run talents, because it's very easy to run into a hand trap, and that will make your talents live. You can draw 2 cards, which is what you want to do most of the time, and that can be really helpful. If your Dogmatika engine gets stopped, you still get 2 more chances to draw into Ponyx or something else that you need during the time. And as well, this card has been reprinted in the Rarity collection as well, so this whole hand trap lineup is really cheap and really affordable for everybody right now, so you can play it without a problem. This is it for the main deck, for the cards. Nice and simple, nice and easy does it. And then for the extra deck, still 2 Garunix Eternity, 2 can come up. You don't really care about the extra deck lock at all, because you want to summon this guy during your opponent's turn off of Sanctuary anyways. If you summon one early, you have the other one for a later turn, which can come up sometimes. One Dingirsu, if the need arises, obviously you can make this card and just send a monster from your opponent's field to the graveyard, and if you send a monster, a lot of cards won't trigger, right? So if you play against Unchained or a Mirror Mage, Dingirsu is really good, because you can just get rid of a problematic body without having to worry about much follow-up. One Typhoon, sometimes it happens, sometimes it comes up. Maybe you your plays get stopped. Maybe your opponent just did a whole lot of things, and this can come up and it can, you know, do a lot of damage on its own as well. So you have the space in your extra deck, so why not run one? This is it for the XYZs. Then there is a link lineup. Since this is the Dogmatika version, you don't really make these plays turn 1, but they can still come up sometimes, and that's why you play one Emblem Veil, one Sunlight Wolf, one Link Kuriboh, and the reason why you play these two is to go into Deco Talker. Heat Soul, amazing card. If it comes up turn 1, you want to go for this play. I mean, the only bad thing about this play is that it plays into Nibiru, because you need, you know, more than 5 summons to get into this card. But if you can get into it, it will provide you at least, you know, 2 draws, and you can draw into important cards that you need. So Heat Soul is really a mainstay of this deck. No matter which version you play, I think you should always have this option available, so this is why you play it. And then just one Hita and one Dark. These cards could be something else, but you know, Hita will be more relevant in the future as well. Once this deck gets more support, you will probably run into a lot of mirror matches, so you want to make sure that you can punish your opponent for sometimes overextending or leaving bodies in the graveyard, which you can use for yourself. And then Dark is great because, you know, a lot of monsters are dark, so you can bring back bestials and stuff like that from your opponent's graveyard. So it can come up, it does come up, and it's good to have as an option as well. And now, kind of the main part of this extra deck for this version of the deck is of course all the Nadir and Maximus targets. And starting off with one Garura. This is the card that you want to send with your Nadir Servant most of the time, especially if you're playing first turn 1. It gets you a draw. If your Nadir Servant resolves, you get into Dogmatika Maximus and you still get to draw a card, so it's just free, it's great. Sometimes you want to send Entis, of course, especially if you're going second, easy pop, and just like that you can get rid of something that may be a problem if you don't act quickly about it. So Entis is of course great. Then you play Tri-Brigade Shrike. This is your access into Panics. When you send this guy to your graveyard, you can search your Panics, and this is kind of the whole point of the Nadir Servant combo. So this is why you run this guy, this is why you play your Nadir package. One Titanic Led. This is good. This is a card that you also want to send off of Maximus most of the time because it gives you Fleur de Lis in your end phase. So again, it's an easy search, it's an easy way to get to Fleur de Lis, and it's an easy way to get into one more interruption during your opponent's turn. And then for the last card, you play one Herald of the Arclight. And the reason why you play this card is because if you send this guy off of your Maximus, you can search your Saravis. So again, this gives you Fleur de Lis, this gives you Saravis, so all these cards that we play in our deck are searchable. Nothing is really hard to get into and nothing you draw is really dead. So again, just something that makes sense altogether. Now I can show you the usual Nadir Servant combo. It's, you know, something that you'll already probably know by now, but it's good to still have it if need be. So what you usually want to do is you activate your Nadir Servant. Most of the time you will send your Garura to grave, and then your Nadir Servant will give you your Maximus. You add your Maximus to your hand, and then you banish Garura from your graveyard to summon Maximus onto the field. Once it's on the field, you activate its effect. You send 2 cards from your extra deck to the graveyard, your opponent does the same. And you definitely want to send this guy, and then it depends on what you want. You can send this to get access to Fleur de Lis, or you can send this to get access to your Saravis, or of course, if you're going second, you can send empties as well. But you know, this is a card that you obviously send first. One of these, and then because you sent your Shurake to the graveyard, he will edge you your Ponyx in hand. Since you didn't even use your normal summon yet, you can just normal summon Ponyx on your field, add Sanctuary, place Fire Island, and then you're off to the race. So this is just kind of, you know, the usual thing that you do. And also the thing that's really good, as I said, Garura gives you another card, so you draw into a card. If you send Titanic Flood, you get this during your end phase. If you send Herald of the Arclight, you get this in your hand. So you just get a lot of really free resources, and all this off of one card, which is the Nadir Servant. So it makes a lot of sense to run it and to play it. So this is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy and like this version of the deck. It's just to show you that there are many more ways in which you can play Fire Kings, and the deck is really, really good. We're looking forward to more support in the future, but as of right now, let's keep going at it and enjoying this deck. See you next time.